Welcome, people of YouTube. Gash here again today. Thank you for joining me and thank you for clicking on my videos. So, the power of thoughts and how to train your mind. So the thing is with thoughts can be beautiful and your mind can be a beautiful thing, but we'd never get taught how to train it. We never get taught how to work with it. Certain parts of the world we do cultural things, spiritual practices, we get taught how to work with our mind and that it's there and how to use it. You see, but especially through my journey in westernized culture in the UK, we never get taught about our mind. In fact, from my opinion, it's the only thing that people are trying to control is our minds. So the thing is, with our mind and our thoughts, it's an accumulation of information that we've gathered so far throughout our lives. What you have in your mind is a discovery you've made so far through your day-to-day life, even up until last week. It's memories, it's constant information that's fed into your mind and that your mind's picking up on and holding, retaining certain information. So stuff like trauma will have it retain there unless you learn to let it go. And also like even positive experiences have a great significance in your mind, in your memory, because it's something you remember. It's something that has intense emotions, whether that's bad or good or happy. In anything with intense emotions, any experience with intense emotions will store in your memory and will store in your mind, because your mind wants to remember that for that reason, because of the intensity of it, whatever that may be. So the accumulation that you have in your mind, is it working for you? Are you creating the life that you really want to live? Is that happening for you? You see, if the answer's no, or you're unsure, then maybe you should learn techniques to work with your mind. You see, we never train our mind, we never train ourselves or discipline ourselves enough to realise how much potential we have. You see, anybody who's made it successful, these enlightened yogis or enlightened beings or successful people or sports people, they've all used everything that they have to harness the life they want to live. And you're no different. The only difference that you have is not learning how to work with it. So simple exercises can learn to change the relationship we have. You see, stuff like mental illness and depression and anxiety is all to do with the relationship of our mind. Somebody who's very anxious has a compulsive mind, or impulsive, should I say. It's a reaction of danger. And the problem is, our mind can be programmed. It can be programmed for positive, or it can be programmed for negative. The mind is built for danger, or it's built for, possibility. We can program it to look for the most dangerous situation, or look for anything that can cause us harm, or look for the news, what it's going to tell us next, or, all the dangers around the world, or we can look for all the opportunities that we have each and every day, or the experiences we could be having each and every day. But how do we train this mind? How do we work with this mind? You see, when we have mental illness or depression, sometimes, if not a lot of the time, it dates back to a time where there was a dark period within your life. There was a dark period where you experienced not nice emotions. And that emotions and them thoughts keep reliving within your system constantly. Every time you visit a situation that's similar to the one that you've been through, it triggers all them emotions and all them thoughts happen again. And I'm doing this with my hands because this is how the mind works. And it keeps coming at you all the time, thinking about this one and only time that's happened in your life, and it keeps revisiting you over and over again. That's how the mind works. Because you have developed thought, brilliant. I've thought about a bad experience that then triggers a chemical reaction in your brain, which releases chemicals within your brain for a certain feeling. Usually, in the case of depression and sadness or anxiety, a bad one. So you get adrenaline. So thought, adrenaline into your brain. Any chemical can be addictive, even the ones inside your brain. So your brain has now become addicted to negative things, dangerous things, because it's the only way it can feel normal again. Every time you visit these situations, you feel some sort of normality because you're used to feeling them feelings. That's why you're doing this. So to break these things and to break these thoughts that keep repeating themselves. I see it throughout people. You know, I talk to people, you get chatting to them, and they've had a horrible past, and then this past keeps revisiting them, and they keep revisiting the past themselves. They can't let go of it because they can't let go of the thoughts, because they're identified with the situation they've been through, and the brain's addicted to it. If you don't feel them feelings again, you're not going to feel normal. So keep feeling them feelings, because that's the only thing. It's almost like a comfort zone and a safe place to feel within these horrible emotions, because it's all you know now. So how do we break these patterns? How do we move forwards and make the mind work for us? The number one thing is to gain control. Now, I'm not saying you can control your mind. If you do, fair play to you, you must be some sort of Zen master. But you can't control your mind in every given moment. You can't control your mind in all situations. But the thing that you can learn to control is your reaction. And that's the biggest part of learning to control your mind. Because if you give it no reaction, what control does your mind have? If your mind does electric shock of whatever it might be, anger, stress, whatever, you make up a story yourself, whatever it may be, your mind goes boo, boo, boo. And if you don't react, what control does it have? What control does anything have if you don't react? And that's the thing you've got to train yourself to do. Now, doing that practically, a prime example of what I like to do. Now, I'm not going to label it meditation, because people don't like them words because they feel like they're being weird or a bit hippie. So, you know, discipline yourself. So, it may be a case of mobile phones. It may be a case of, you know, actually sitting down with your thoughts. You know, because some people, they pick up the phone, it's constantly there. First thing in the morning, I will not pick up my phone till I reach break time. Do that. You're controlling your mind. Your mind wants to pick up your phone and check what's being said on social media. It wants to check your notifications. It wants to check your emails or work calls. It wants to do that. But you're telling it no. There we go. We're on to number one. Another practical way. Sit down on your sofa or a chair or comfortable and tell yourself, right, for the next 5 minutes, I'm going to sit in silence. And I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to have to think about anything. I'm not going to have to worry about anything. I'm just going to sit here. I'm just going to breathe and take in this moment. And when you do that as a practical guide, you know, you'll realise how much your mind wants to gain control of you. And it's not because your mind's an evil thing. It's just because you haven't developed it yet. And the thing is, your mind wants that reaction because that's where the control lies. Your mind is used to being in control. If your mind is used to being in control, when you take control away or your reaction away, it's going to keep trying to gnaw at you. It's going to keep trying to pull you in. So when you sit like this, or when you sit, you know, might not look at your phone, your mind's going to tell you to do it. Or when you sit down and you know, you're just breathing and not choosing to do anything, your mind's going to pull you in different directions. It's going to ask you to go check the front door, that you fed the dog, did you lock the gate at work, did you do this, did you do that? It's going to try and pull you in. And you know what? I'm a heavily meditator. I'm a heavy meditator. People know this who watch my channel. I've sat and meditated for a good couple hours before, and just to see what happens. And it's amazing what your mind actually comes up with, trying to pull you in. God, I've gone back through childhood memories, you know, difficult situations with bosses from years ago, that it just tries to pull you in and tries to draw you in. And it's constantly trying to do that because it's used to being in control. So what happens once you've started practicing these things and learning to work with your mind and change your relationship with your mind? You see, when these thoughts come in, if you've practiced non-reactivity with your mind, when you get into stressful situations, you're not going to react to the first thing it gives you. You're going to think, whoa, hold on, let's slow down. We're not going to react to, I don't know, slapping the woman in the queue for looking at me funny, or shouting at the woman behind the till, whatever it may be. You know, we're not going to react to that. We're going to do something logical. That's what happens. That's when you're breaking the patterns. Now, to, you know, make the mind work for you and create the life you want, once you start determining this relationship and building a better relationship with your mind, you can get it to think the things that you want. You know, I will live in abundance. I will be happy. I will do great things. I will have a joyous life. These things, these thoughts, these emotions that you keep repeating to yourself, is programming your mind to think positively. You see, if you haven't learned a relationship with your mind, you won't know where your mind is at. If you're in depression, if you're in mental health, your mind is now working over you, and it's got control over you, and it's been programmed to think negatively. That's what mental illness is. It's programmed to think of danger and, you know, pain. That's how it's been programmed. But when you start programming your mind to be positive, or to be in abundance, or infinite, or, you know, limitless, when you start programming your mind in this, your life just moves. It's a shift. Boom. And yes, you go through these difficult situations. Matter of fact, when you change your mind to do this, you get more difficult situations to be challenged with, because you're in preparation for it now. And every time you go through these situations, you're like leveling up, because you know it's not for any other reason but bettering you as a person. Because you're in abundance, because you're in growth, because you're in happiness, you don't see situations as a personal attack on you anymore. You don't see situations as because you're not worthy anymore, or because, you know, you're not good enough. You don't see it as that. You see it as growth. You see it as, maybe this is happening because it's prepping me for something better. It's all about programming your mind. Your mind is like a big computer, and sometimes you have to download a new software for your computer and for your mind, you know. And if you're looking into the relationship that you have with yourself, your life will change. Now, I'm still working. That's the whole spiritual journey. We never reach the top of the mountain. We're always still walking up, you know, but we reach levels. And the thing is that if you're in an unhappy place, or you're feeling like you're not where you want to be, then change the relationship you have with your mind. Change the relationship you have with yourself. Change the things that you say to yourself. Change the things that you think about. You know, a lot of people have got all these ailments and illnesses, but they're not doing a lot to help themselves. And because they don't know how, because the information's not there provided, you know, it's a constant cycle of going through these events and thoughts and memories. You know, break the patterns to change them. Change the reaction to create a new reaction. You know, it's all about change. It's all about progress. And that's all I've got to say about the power of thoughts and working it with the mind. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you take something away from it. If there's anything I would like you to take away, is just spend the next 3 days looking at the relationship we have in your mind, looking at the thoughts that pop into your head. Become more conscious of the internal world that you have. That's all I ask of you. And then you will see what the hell I'm talking about. As I always say on this channel, peace and love to anybody watching this. Make sure you take it easy. Make sure you get a healthy relationship with your mind and yourself. And when you change your internal world, it doesn't matter what's going on the outside. It all looks beautiful. When this is beautiful, all that is just a bonus. Believe me. Yeah, man.